So the next module that we're going to be covering today is how to have effective prospecting. And what I'm talking about is finding your ideal clients, finding your ideal prospects. No more aimlessly searching for anyone who we think may be a client, but let's have clarity around who our ideal clients are and make sure we have a strategy to go with it. So let's take a look first and talk about your pipeline or your funnel. It's important that you have enough in your pipeline so that you have enough business coming through. So it's so vital that you have a lot of activity so that you have a larger pipeline, and then you can also then choose who you want to work with, which are more ideal. And by doing that, we also want to have a balanced pipeline. And so what I mean by that is if you are someone who has multiple things you offer, products, solutions, whatever that may be, you want to make sure that you have activity and opportunity that falls under each one of those categories. Some may be things that are lower investments that might go faster and that will help with cash flow. Other things may take a little bit longer to build on. A lot of different kinds of solutions that you may offer. It takes longer for the turnaround to happen. So that's important to have a balance there. So that way you're not waiting too long for sales, commissions, cash flow, and then yet you're still making sure that you have some of those larger things that could be coming through at the right timing and the icing on the cake. So let's talk for a minute about what's not working versus what is working, because there is that old school kind of selling process that isn't very effective today because our buyers are different. The psychology of our buyers are different. Their options are much larger because they can go on the internet and they can search a lot of categories about any information. You know, the thing we have to remember is we don't want it to turn into just a commodity situation for them. We want them to know what our value is. And we have to find ways to show that even in a time today where they have so many options to pick from. So let's take a look at that. Old school selling and selling just products or solutions is not impactful enough. We can't just do that. So what are the solutions to that? Well, buyers are smarter. They do want to buy, but they don't want to be sold. Think of yourself for a moment. You know, as a consumer even, we buy products all the time. We love to buy. We love to look, we love to research, and we like to buy. But we don't want someone breathing down our neck, on our shoulder, constantly trying to get us to buy something, you know, or selling us on something. So we want to keep that in mind when we're talking to our clients, no matter what you offer, that we want to be there to guide them, to help them, to redirect them, but not to like oversell them or come across as too salesy. All right? And ultimately, our clients want advisors. They want trusted advisors. They want to have confidence in their decision because risk is high. Why do you think so many people operate in something called a complex buying team? There may be multiple people who make a decision around something because they don't want to make a mistake or make the wrong decision, or they want it to be where everyone takes responsibility for the decision that was made, you know, depending on the outcome. So that becomes really important. Now down here, what you'll find is why can we not just sell not just products or solutions, but because we have to have value. We have to show value in everything now, not just value in our products or our services, but we have to show value in us as a salesperson, our company, and our product. Everything must have value, every single thing. And that's a shift. That is a change in how we used to sell, and that is a change in what we have to understand with the psychology of our buyer. So the next thing we want to talk about is how do we start to have clarity around ideal prospects versus poor prospects. And this way we can really hone in on this time that we already spoke about earlier, managing and having effective time management. Well, that starts to play into this category as well, because I don't want you to aimlessly be talking to everyone or wasting time going to networking events or going after clients, businesses, whatever it may be, that really truly aren't qualified or aren't ideal for you. I'd rather you spend this precious time that you can never get back, spend it wisely, effectively, and really only spend your time with people that you know or are more ideal, and you have pre-qualified them as having the needs or the challenges that we happen to have the solutions for. So you're going to find your assignment is to download the template worksheet where you can write down characteristics of what you feel is ideal and what you feel would be a poor prospect. And what are some of those different things? Here's some suggestions or ideas. For people who do B2B business, it could be number of employees. It could be the vertical market, the actual industry that they're in. It could be their annual sales volume. If they have multiple locations, or, that could be more ideal. If they're growing business. And also, you have to make sure they have good credit. Because obviously in business, when we're selling our solutions or creating opportunities, a lot of times we have to do some kind of financing or some kind of help the process that they have to get approved through. Now, if you sell B2C, that might be expanded. That might go to their age, their gender, maybe commonalities, between who we're trying to serve and, what we offer. Type of career, perhaps. It could be specific to the desired outcome. Geography, level of career, and level of income. So these are some ideas that I want you to look at while you're doing your worksheet. If you need to pause this while you're working on it, then do that so you can kind of look at these and say, what really defines, if I could think of the most ideal person, client, business, individual that I would love to work with. And you can start that by thinking of your own clients today. Who do you love working with? Who do you love to serve? And who, frankly, drives you crazy? Who is high maintenance and low profit? You can start with those feelings. You can look at these different categories, and then ultimately you can fill in your worksheet to say, this is who's my ideal prospect, my ideal client. I want to look for these things. I want to spend my time with people who value what I offer, are willing to pay for what I offer, and I ultimately enjoy working with them. Now, the next assignment I want you to do is, now that we started having clarity around who our ideal people are, now we should start to think about, well, where do we find them, right? So who they are, and then where can we find them? Because again, we want to spend our time in places where they hang out, or where they are. Now, if you have a geographical territory that we discussed in earlier sessions, one thing you'll find is we're going to look for where they happen to be located in your geographical area. But let's talk about, in general, on top of just where they're located, where are there also information sources? Like, where can we find more leads, and where can we find information about these ideal people that we can contact or call on? Here are some examples. So again, if you're business to business, you can look at your present customer records. Take a look at who they are. See if there's more opportunities there. You can work with your Chamber of Commerce. You can work with a tool called Reference USA, which is a great database, similar to another one called Hoovers.com. The difference here, too, is Reference USA is typically a free resource to you through your public library. So you can always contact us. We can give you more information on that. But literally, you can do a step-by-step guide of how to find, download, and have a very, very targeted group of people you can contact that happen to fall under all the characteristics of who you feel is ideal. The next thing is it could be industrial directories, let's say, for if you're doing businesses. It could be trade shows, trade associations. It could be new construction. So in your specific territory, perhaps there's a property management or construction sign up, and there's something going on, whether it's a new industry park, a new plaza, new building. Perhaps the people aren't in there yet. You can contact them, and they can tell you who's moving in. And then I would suggest that you reach out to them before they move in, because when they move in, they typically have things in place. You can look at advertisements, newspaper, networking events, referrals, of course. We don't want to forget referrals. Ask the people we work with who else can take advantage of, what we have to offer. And they've received amazing benefits from our relationship. So start to hone in on that. And that ties us really right into social media. Because on social media, especially for businesses, LinkedIn is the business networking choice. And what happens is that's also today's means for actually asking for referrals. Instead of just asking someone if they have someone they can think of, go on your LinkedIn. Make sure you're connected with them. Make sure you can ask them and say, do you mind if I take a look at some of your connections, and then come back to you and ask if you can introduce me to 5 people who looks like will be ideal for me to speak with who happen to be connected with you. That's the modern day way of asking for referrals. It's more effective. You get a better response. And typically, absolutely, people are willing to introduce you to people they're connected with when they've received benefits from you. So instead of them having to think of people, which doesn't happen very easily, you can help to guide the process. Now let's also take a look if you sell B2C. All right, so networking events are pretty big for individuals like yourself who may be in that category. You may also find them in trade shows where you find ideal clients at specific shows, online forums, industry events, social media. Now in social media, it may have some with LinkedIn and it may have some with Facebook. Because again, Facebook happens to be a great avenue if you are selling to consumers. It's a great place to market. So just knowing that and knowing how to utilize those different social media forms will be key for you. Some people utilize social gatherings or church, anything that they're connected with or they're involved in. Common organizations. Again, referrals is always key. And even utilizing social media in that realm as well. Word of mouth, different associations, conferences that you may attend, and also alumni. So these are just some examples of places or ways you can get additional leads for you to know who to contact, but have a target with it. Make sure you're not just randomly talking to people. Know that we have clarity around who our ideal client and prospect is, and then see where we can reach out to them and be where they are, or call on where they are. You will get a higher rate of return, higher conversion rate, and you'll have more effective time management with that. And then all of that comes together where you have better cash flow, and you have better sales, better commissions, and all of that is key to exploding your sales and exploding your sales in your business. All right, here's another example as well. When we're talking about places to find key people, and then also what do we do when we're starting to call on them and reach out to them? We need to have some key information. It's so important that we have a little bit of information on who we're reaching out to. Because again, today, everyone has options. We want to have a good understanding of what their problems or challenges may be by vertical market or by a commonality of things that we're interested in. And by doing that, what we can do is we can start to narrow down how do we find some of that additional research fast. Well, let's talk about especially B2B. You can go to Google, and this is where perhaps you've used Reference USA, or you've used some form of a database like a CRM, a customer relationship management tool. So you already have the name of the company and you already have a contact person that you'd like to reach out to. But you're at a place where you'd like a little bit of information of what their goals are. and what their outcomes, their desired outcomes are of something that you offer. So that when you contact them, you can show the credibility that you've done your research. You understand a little bit about who they are and what they struggle with. And ultimately, it makes a connection. It builds trust so that you can meet with them and they're intrigued to meet with you. So what you can do here, let's say for a company, you can say company with a plus sign, the name of the person with a plus sign, and you could put in here 2016 goals or 2016 compliances and security or so on. You can use as many as you want or as little as you want on these different criterias. And then what's great about it is Google brings everything together that has all of those things you put in there. Because the plus means this and this and this, not either or, but everything together. So it's a really fast way so that you're not over-researching or having it be a time waster to have the data. You can fast, efficient, find key information, and call with purpose. And call with conviction that you can help that person reach their goal.